It's a dream common to many who walk the Cumberland Gap area. From early history down to the present day, the dream was of a better life. For Pete DeBusk, that dream took hold during a childhood that began in Rose Hill, Virginia. Given the name O.V. Autry DeBusk, his uncles soon christened him with the nickname he's most known, Pete. Tenacity, intensity, drive, passion, vision. These words have described him all his life.
There's a strength about people in this area. They're fighters and they're persisters, and Pete's a prime example of that. And I think that's a typical Appalachian quality.
His father worked construction for mining companies. Following the work from coal camp to coal camp, the family lived a nomadic life.
Well, we moved around like a bunch of gypsies, you know, in a coal field. We had a trailer and we moved from town to town, and he met a lot of people. He was in 5 schools in 1 year.
Sylvia Lynch learned of Pete's rugged childhood while helping Pete write the story of DeRoyal Industries.
He talked about traveling around and living in all these mining camps, and he said, you know, you get whipped and you get whipped, and he said you rise up the pecking order, and then when you move to a different one, you have to start at the bottom again.
They not a lazy bone in him. When he was little, they wasn't. He delivered papers when he's 5-year-old.
He said that he had decided, because he was very poor growing up, that he was going to find some way to make sure that he made money.
Pete once confided thoughts of his future.
He said, Mother, I'll tell you one thing. He says, I'll never be a coal miner. He said, I'm not going to dig ditches with my life. He said, I'm going to school, get me an education to where I can get a job. And he done exactly what he said.
I don't know that he really thought about getting out of Appalachia. I think he thought more about being successful in Appalachia. And I believe his parents had a tremendous influence on him.
That pushing and getting work done and everything, now he get that from me.
His dreams for the future and a passion for education intertwined.
Because he sees education as a way out of your circumstance. And he, not only does he believe in education and a degree, but he wants you to have a degree that you can make a living. He's all about figuring out how you're going to live for the rest of your life.
Made top grades everywhere he went, till he got Thomas Walker. And when he got Thomas Walker, all the girls were struck on him. He had a car, and he was nice looking. He wasn't the prettiest thing there was, but he was nice looking and dressed good and everything. And they all went crazy, and they went to getting his lessons. And come up to test, he wouldn't know A from B.
But Maud had a simple solution, a solution that required the cooperation of Pete's high school principal.
I said, bust his hind end good. And I said, he'll straighten up. But Fred called him in and told him what, and he told me about it and what I told him to do. Oh, we straightened up and went to making his grades.
A college education meant traveling just down the road to Lincoln Memorial University. LMU would have a lasting influence. There, he would juggle studies with athletics.
Competitive in basketball, competitive in baseball. He was a natural athlete.
Pete is definitely a tiger on the court when he played basketball.
He was going to win. He was going to do whatever he had to win. He doesn't like to be beaten.
A rough-hewn basketball player would be the way I would describe it. He elbowed his way into leading the league in rebounds, and I think was second in scoring. So I'm sure there are a lot of bruised and battered bodies in his wake.
Pete was so competitive, and he's what, 6'3", I guess. Played like 6'6". Very great jump out of the gym.
Well, I think anybody that's been in competitive sports has an advantage in business because he or she is used to competing.
After college, Pete once again lived a life on the road as a salesman for a pharmaceutical company and then a medical device company. His tenacious spirit drove him to begin his own company with an innovative idea, the Easy Walk Cast boot.
He made them himself. I mean, and he did that as long as he possibly could, and then he hired one woman to help, and it was just like, from there it just grew astronomically.
Idea begat idea, device begat device, growth begat growth. That company he founded, DeRoyal, now stands at the forefront of the medical device industry and has successfully branched into numerous other areas.
There's no doubt that he's a visionary person. You look at this, and a lot of people can't see what it looks like before it starts, and he can do that.
I sometimes think that Pete is not capable of thinking within the box.
Nationally known for DeRoyal and his service on MedPAC, the Medicare Payment Advisory Commission, Pete's overarching concern remains education. As chairman of the LMU Board of Trustees, Pete has spearheaded major changes with creation of medical, veterinary, and law schools among the most prominent.
Pete, through the LMU Medical School, has opened up the field of medicine where we need people, dedicated, passionate, hardworking people, to the people of Southern Appalachia who wouldn't have a chance.
My name is Allie Delp. I'm a physician.
Hey Eric, how are you?
I am a teacher. I do get to teach the new doctors that are graduating from medical school and going through residence. I grew up in Big Stone Gap, Virginia. Big Stone Gap is a very rural community. I've just always felt like this is where I belong. My little brother was diagnosed with neuroblastoma when he was 18 months old. That really kind of triggered me to be a doctor, to kind of help those that can't help themselves. So I decided to go to LMU DCOM. It was very important to me to serve the area that I grew up in. I would firstly like to thank Pete DeBusk for developing the medical school. If he hadn't done that, I wouldn't be where I am today, I don't think. And many of the doctors that have gone through Lincoln Memorial, they wouldn't be where they are today. And I know that there are many doctors out there today that are working, that have gone through Lincoln Memorial, that are doing great things. So I'm so very thankful, and that would be my main message to him.
He's an LMU poster child. He's a tremendous example, I think, for young people that are looking to better themselves.
There was one business opportunity that took a surprising turn.
And that's why I have an idea for a product, and I want a patent. He said, well, let's have lunch.
That lunch would lead to marriage.
Well, I was a little distracted, so the patent never happened. I think I got something better than a patent.
And I'll just share with you one Pete-ism, and I like to pass this along to other people. If he ever calls you on the phone and he asks you, what are you doing? Make sure you understand that no matter what you say, the next words out of his mouth are going to be, let me talk at you for a minute.
I have been in church on Sunday and my cell phone buzzed and looked down and Pete's number.
His phone calls to the president of the university and the various vice presidents are legend.
If he gets something on his mind, he'll pick the phone up and call, or he'll deal with it. He's a right now kind of fella. He can be hell on wheels, but there's usually method to his madness. There's usually, you figure out after it's all said and done, now I see where he was going with that. But there is a whole nother side to him.
Pete is a family man. He takes care of his children, he takes care of his grandchildren, and when he sees those grandchildren come through the door, the smile on his face is just precious.
Though he's known for his work with LMU and the Boys and Girls Club, few people know the extent of his charitable heart.
He's done things that people will never know that he's done. He's quiet about some of his philanthropy. There's a poetry about him that's kind of surprising sometimes.
It's an Appalachian style of poetry evident in the title of his book.
That's an expression he uses all the time. And basically what it means is the little guy comes out on top. He sees with education, the rabbit's got the gun. You empower yourself, and then you turn on the things that are holding you back or keeping you down.
Giving people the opportunity to succeed is the legacy that Pete has left.
Pete retains that never-give-up spirit of a salesman.
And I think that's the Appalachian in him. He's very tenacious. He won't take no for an answer. He's going to figure it out.
Perhaps it's an Appalachian spirit after all.
I think being honest is what has made Pete prosper, because he wouldn't take a dollar off of nobody.
You know, all things considered, if I could change anything about Dad, the one thing I would change is he needs to listen to his mother more.
He's smart and like what he's in, figuring all that, the work he does now. But when he comes down farming, there's a lot of things that he don't know. And he can't stand for nobody to tell him how, because he thinks he knows it, but he don't know it all. And I tell him just like it is. I love him to death. I wouldn't take $1 million for him, but I wouldn't give 2 cents for another just like him.